Hi everybody, thanks for stopping by and welcome to the Tea and Trails podcast, and thanks Phoenix Light for sponsoring this week's interview. The best design comes from the actual needs of users, and Phoenix takes providing mobile lighting products with excellent performance as the goal and born for harsh environments as its mission. Never forget why you started and your mission can be accomplished. Head over to www.phoenixlight.co.uk to find out more, and don't forget patrons can enjoy 10% off, and all you lovely listeners get 5% off with the code TNT5. All the discount codes are either in the description, over on Patreon, on our website, or in the link tree.
I think any chat that ends with a big discussion on Mariah Carey's catalogue of songs is a good one, Gary.
Peaked.
He absolutely peaked. And talking of hills, we meet Lizzie Richardson this week, who is the absolute master of hills, a female Paddy Buckley record holder, plus GB Ultra trail runner, general all-round Pete Bog saviour as well. This chat takes us in all sorts of different dimensions, but I think what comes across the most is Lizzie's love for the hills, her love for adventure. She is one of those people that just drops in. You know, I ask her, did you do a bit cross-training? She said, I've got a 24-hour mountain bike race. She is somebody that is not scared of adventure, but is sort of super humble, and I don't want to use the word normal, but she was just radiate. You said as soon as we hung up, what a radiator, didn't you? Sort of person you could sit in a pub with a little dram of whiskey, Gary, and talk all things running as well. And she probably would never even mention that she'd done a Paddy Buckley Round as well. But you shared loads of love about Old County Tops, and she's just a lovely, lovely human. So settle in. Are you lacing up? Are you doing Markathon? What are you doing with your run when you're listening to this? Perhaps you're not running. Perhaps you're doing your Christmas card list.
I'm running to Uganda. That's what I'm doing.
How are you getting on there?
I got my first badge
yet?
Yeah, I've got my first badge. I think I did, was it 50 mile or 50k? Yeah. You
are smashing it. My little kids are doing so well with their Markathon. We have to in the dark every night. And I'm like, I'm waiting for the, I'm not doing it, Mum, but you know what the Sutton kids are like. But it's adding my mileage up, Gary, because one of them even keeps going, let's go a bit further. And I'm like, shall we go and have tea? And they're like, I'll just do one more mile. And I'm like, you don't need to do any more.
You've been loaning out all your head torches.
Yeah, we complete Phoenix running down the lanes, and they're like, these head torches are amazing, and I'm like, yeah, don't get too comfortable. You're very
You'll never see them again.
And I'm like, but stop turning your head when you talk to me. You keep blinding me. Warm beam only, guys. Warm beam only. Anyway, we've digressed. We hope you enjoy our chat with Lizzie as much as we did. Here we go.
I'm going to struggle with this AI intro because it has the word See, I'm going to struggle again. Breathe and believe, Gary. She's Let's just get on with it. Rewritten. That's it.
Rewritten. So how about with a bit of a lift?
Let's try and get through it. Today's guest is a force of the British mountains, a great British athlete, and the female record holder of the legendary Paddy Buckley Round, from slate, scree and sky to split times that make your jaw drop. She's rewritten what toughness looks like on the toughest Welsh peaks. We're diving into the mindset, the miles, and the moments that turn grit into a record. Lace up. This is the spirit of mountain running at its highest altitude. That's not a bad intro, Lizzie, but there's no mention of the World Champs or, as far as I'm concerned, your peak achievements. It forgot to mention All County Tops champ and record holder. What a race that is. I'm curious, what drew you to the All County Tops?
I'm actually really glad you started with All County Tops, because I think that was my most proud achievement of this year. The All County Tops was actually one of the first fell races I ever did. I did it with my sister back in 2019, and I'd done a couple of short fell races before that, and my sister was the one who kind of drew me into the longer stuff, starting with supporting her and her Bob Graham. Yeah, I really loved that, and that's what gave me the real itch for the longer stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
She asked me to come along and do All Kinds of Tops, and I think she regretted it by the end of the day because I was a little bit stronger than her. And Gary, you'll know this, you only have to be a tiny bit stronger than someone across that distance for it to just accumulate through the day. You're just getting all those little micro breaks and you're just feeling fresher and fresher, and they're just getting hammered further and further. That day culminated in us doing a sprint finish. The second female pair were catching us. You know, at the end, you can go down to the campsite and run along the road, or you can cut through the field. Yeah, we cut through the field and there's loads of stiles. And my sister had this horrible stitch and both of us were cramping. We could see the other two women catching us. And so each stile, I'm like, come on, go. We're both cramping like crazy. And then we got to the bottom field and there was a farmer moving his sheep and he wouldn't let us through. No. And we could see the finish line and the other two women caught us. And then we had this kind of, we wanted them to just us all finish together. They insisted we went first, which was very good of them. But we all came in, I think it just wasn't far over the women's record. We would have got the women's record apart from this farmer. So I always felt there was a bit of unfinished business there. And I really wanted to go back and do it. And then last year, Anna Llewellyn, who is a phenomenal runner, she asked me if I'd come and do all kinds of tots with her. Yes, I thought, great, this is opportunity. We both really wanted to go for the women's record. My sister was out supporting me and looking after my son, and she absolutely loved it because that day I was 100% the nail, getting thoroughly absolutely destroyed all day. And she'd see us at the checkpoints and you could see her face was like flipping between like concern, big sister, and just absolute delight. Just waving me off, like laughing.
She's gone. Come on, Lizzie, she's going.
Yeah, it was one of the hardest days of running I've ever had. I mean, Anna's always been a great runner, but it's been brilliant to see over the last few years just coming on leaps and bounds.
You mentioned Anna, Lakes in the Day, Lake 100. Yeah. She has had a cracking year. Who's got the trophy?
Anna has the trophy because I had the trophy last time that me and my sister won it. So, and I also felt like you basically dragged me around this race. I think you can take the trophy. Anna lives in Lancaster and I live in the Highlands. So, you know, in terms when it comes to returning it, I actually, you know, it was actually something quite lazy that I was dressing up as something nice. Like, you can take it. It's your responsibility.
I think out of all the T-shirts that I own, I'd get more knowledgeable nods with an All County Tops T-shirt than any other. What do you think makes it so tough? I know people who've multiple Lake 100 finishes, but maybe they've got as far as Angletown or Cockley Beck on the All County Tops. Is it just the cut-offs that make it so brutal?
I don't even know what it is. I think maybe it's the cut-offs. Maybe it's something to do with the pair element. Like, I wanted to drop out that whole race and only the kind of, like, I don't want to let Anna down. But yeah, one person's usually getting dragged a little bit harder than they want to be. Yeah. Also, the terrain's just super rough. I mean, even on some of the flatter bits, you're running across really boggy ground and it saps your energy so much. I mean, there's a lot of just, wading through difficult terrain. Yeah, and then that last descent off Old Man is just, you feel like you're almost there, but you're really not. That was just so painful. I was literally moaning out loud. And Anna would turn around and be like, are you okay? Like, I was just non-verbal by this point, just moaning at her, just like, keep going. But yeah, it was absolutely horrible, but also a brilliant day. And there's something about that race that, it's just like, I finished it and was like, never again. But already I'm like, I really want to go back. But I'm super proud of what we did that day, because not only did we break the women's record, we also came in faster than the mixed pairs record. So yeah, I thought we ran a really good race. And what was very funny was Anna was there with a few of her club mates, and two guys came up to me and said they'd done it with Anna in previous years and they'd formed the Anna Llewellyn Survival Club. And so by the end of the day, I went up to them and was like, I feel like I'm a fully signed up member of the Anna Llewellyn Survival Club now.
I'm looking at the splits here. I think you were 8th at Helvellyn, then 10th at Whitburn, 8th at Angletown, but then I think you made it to 5th in the end overall. So yeah, super solid race. From my perspective on that race, there's elements coming off Scarfell Pike where you can lose some time with the nav coming off there, and that's run from Whitburn to Angletown and then also to Cockley Beck, I suppose, if you don't really know that well. Did you get over there and nav the course?
I heavily relied on Anna for that. And actually, it's funny you mentioned descent of Scarfell, because, I mean, another thing I love about this race is I know so many people doing it and it's so social. You're like yo-yoing past friends all day. We had two friends doing it, a guy called Lawrence and Tom. We were coming down a Scarfell and we just came across Lawrence wandering around by himself, lost. I had lost Tom, so we were like, come with us. And he followed us, and then we heard Tom's voice shouting in the distance. So Lawrence disappeared and we never saw them again. They did make it to the end. Yeah, Anna was great. Anna I think has done the race at least 3 times now. She was out wrecking it loads. She lives in Lancaster. Yeah. She runs in the lakes all the time. So I think I did get my map out at one point because we did get a little bit confused coming off. And so I was like, oh, this is my moment. because I can map read quite well. But yeah, that was the only kind of contribution I made. Otherwise, I followed it, and I don't think we made any major nav errors that day. But no, it was a great day. Did you? And you had a good race as well.
Fortunate or unfortunately, within the V100 category now. So yeah, I think a few people didn't turn up, so we came away with the trophy this year. So
Nice.
yeah, wonderful. Are you going to go back to defend your title?
Yeah, we had a brief chat about it before, but yeah, I'm currently injured. May, is it May? Yeah, first weekend of May, isn't it? All kinds of tops.
Yeah.
I think that's quite fast approaching. I think last year I did do quite a lot of traveling to races, and now we live up in the Highlands, so it takes a long time to get to anywhere. So I think next year I'll probably try and focus on some Scottish based goals if I can get back to a point where I'm running a decent amount. But yeah, I'll definitely will be back to all kinds of tops at some point. Me and my husband Tom have talked about doing it together, which is almost certainly a terrible idea. We've done one little navigation race as a pair together, and it didn't end well. I mean, it ended quite well, but there was a lot of bickering, and he's a lot stronger than me, so I'm the one who's going to have a terrible day, but he's also terrible at navigation, so I know I'll spend the whole thing shouting to him like, we're going the right.
If you just stayed a bit closer, we wouldn't have to keep getting lost, and I wouldn't have to keep shouting.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't have any breath to spare shouting at you.
No, exactly, all this energy. You mentioned you just moved to the Highlands. What's have you got out your back door straight up into the hills? Because what's beautiful about Scotland, probably you are still enjoying this with the recent move, is that you can go anywhere.
Yes, it is really nice that, and I still sometimes have to remind myself of that. In a weird way, I had better hill access where I lived in Wales. In Wales, we lived right on the edge of Moelwynion, which are on the Paddy route. I felt like from my doorstep I could get that proper wild hill feeling. But here, just out the window here, I can see my garden. There's a little gate at the back of our garden that goes out into the woods and onto the trails. Yeah, which is probably the main reason why I bought this house for that. The rest of the house, we were like, it's got 3 sheds and a gate into the woods, like sold.
It's the same as us. It's got a gate in the woods, and I just love the fact I go through a gate. I don't know.
It's so nice, isn't it?
Yeah,
especially with dogs and toddlers. It just makes life so much easier. So yeah, we've got loads of just endless trails here. You could run up the nearest Munro from the door. It'd be about 30k out and back. But most of the time I just drive a short way. But yeah, we're like 45 minutes from Torridon. Yeah, just endless kind of choices of hills. The issue I have is just the time to get out and do them.
Yeah, it is. You always think that I could say, I haven't got the time. Because then by the time you've driven, then you'd want to do you want to go for 20 minutes. You'll need 3 or 4 hours, and then you've driven back as well. Did you find your first winter there was it being a little bit darker than normal? Did that come as a little bit of a surprise to you, asking for a friend?
I would say this is our first proper. So we moved up here end of February. So we missed it last winter. So we are now into that kind of super dark phase, and it's pretty tough leaving for work in the dark, returning in the dark. Actually, yesterday I was out doing some I do peatland restoration work as my job. So I was out surveying on a site. We were out on site from sunrise to sunset, which really brought home to me how short the days are, because it felt like it just went in a flash. But that was very far north. That was right up in Caithness, so about as far north as you can go in Scotland. It does feel quite dark at the moment, and particularly on the weekends, it's kind of blink and you miss it.
Especially when you've got a toddler and you've got to fit in meals and a nap as well, and then they're probably just waking up from their nap and you're like, well, start now.
That's it. The day's over. We're going back down to Wales for a few weeks over Christmas, and I feel like we're going to gain light. And that's the shortest days of the year. So I'm kind of feeling a bit positive about that. But yeah, it has been tough. Yeah.
When we did our first winter, we couldn't get it. Like Christmas Day, I think we finished Christmas lunch at 2:45, and we were like, we'll go on our walk. And then we're like, oh my God, the day has gone. And you feel, I think you have to kind of the day hasn't just because it's dark. We have to be like Norwegian and be like, well, we just have to get on. And what I've done this year is I given them my old head torches. And so I'm just like, we're going out. We're still going out. It's only 5. It's fine. We'll just go out and put the head torches on. A peat tell me again, what is it you do?
Peatland restoration.
Do we need to restore the peatland? Don't we? Because as a runner, the peatland's the bit that we go, oh, for God's sake, I'm waist deep in.
Yeah, I'm actually, really making everyone's life a lot harder. Yeah, so, I mean, very broad strokes, like peatlands, degraded peatlands, exposed peat. release a load of carbon. It's one of our biggest carbon emitters in the UK. When you restore them, you lock in that carbon. It also has loads of other benefits like biodiversity, for water quality, for flood control. So most of our peatlands are degraded, they're eroded, and that's from land management, burning, grazing, digging drains. Back in the, I think it's 80s or 90s, like farmers were paid to drain peatlands to produce more agricultural land. And what they actually found was like this land was still really poor for agricultural purposes, and then it had all these like knock-on effects. So yeah, I work for a private company, but we work carrot projects. A lot of it is government funded.
So how do you restore it?
In very simple terms, by raising the water level.
Oh, so this really isn't, this is a runner's.
Yeah. You go into a sore peatland and it's not great to walk across. You block the old drains, you block them and gullies, and you spread out vegetation, or sometimes we like plant seeds or put sphagnum plugs into. Any bare peat will be releasing carbon. So you're trying to like block up drainage and also cover bare peat. That's the kind of quite simplistic terms. So yeah, that's my job. I manage the field work for that.
I love that. And so when we're running and we're on that like peaty bog and we lose our legs, we should be grateful because we're like, actually,
this is a good piece of bog.
This is a good piece. This is good. We will never look at it as then and say, actually, if it's really boggy, this is great. This is what we want.
Yeah.
And if we see a drain, we just cover it up. Yeah.
Is that what they're trying to do around Skiddaw? I'm sure I saw something on the news a few months ago where they're trying to buy some of the land back and then rewild it. Is that the same kind of thing?
I only know a little bit about that project, but I think they've got a whole like raft of things that they do. And I think there'll be some tree planting within that and maybe some peatland restoration as well. I mean, a lot of the time we work for estates up here that are doing things as a big package. Like they're doing planting, they're doing kind of peatland restoration, they'll be doing stuff for the rivers. So it's really great. There's like a real interest in it now and a real drive for it. And it's really funny kind of coming from an environmental perspective, because I worked as an ecologist previously. You know, a lot of the things that make our hills so great to run on are to do with them being really degraded. Like I love running the Lake District. The reason it's so great you can run anywhere is because it's all been overgrazed, and that's actually a quite contentious topic, so I'll probably stop there on it. But it's quite funny coming to Scotland and you're like, oh great, I'm just going to cut across this hill, and then you go off the path and you're like, oh, this was a really bad idea. I shouldn't have done this. And yeah, so I do really miss that about the lakes and North Wales. You can basically go anywhere you want on the hill, and it might be a bit rough underfoot, but it's not, you know, it's passable. So yeah, I always think there's an interesting like trade-off there.
It sounds like really hard work though, Lizzie. You shattered at the end of the day.
Yeah. I actually, so back in June, I ran the trial race for the World Champs. It was on a Saturday. I think it finished like late afternoon. I had an hour's break and then had to drive with my son and the toddler all the way back up to Scotland to start this job on the Monday. Whoa. And I had a prolonged maternity leave because we moved to Scotland. So I went from 18 months of maternity leave and then straight into full-time work, and my toddler into like childcare, and then I was trying to train for the World Champs at the same time, and it was really, really tiring. And in hindsight, I don't know if it was worth it, to be brutally honest.
It was.
I think it was. I think when you asked me to come on the podcast, I was like, I hadn't even thought about the World Champs because it was so flat out to get there, and then I came back and it was just flat out, and it's a super busy time of year for us with work.
I'm really laughing at you on your first day of work with really sore legs and tired, and getting out of the car and then going, so just remind me, Pete, what does it look like? I mean, what are we looking at here today?
I was also really ill, so like the day before the race I started to feel quite ill, and then obviously I did the race, and it was like the Monday I was horrendously ill, and you can't call in sick for your first week of work. So I just sat there just coughing, spluttering, and pretty much everything that was said to me that week just went in one ear and out the other because I just felt so rough. But you're like, you know how you feel after a big race. You feel absolutely drained, you're mentally drained.
Oh my God. And then the week after, that's my beige food rule, Lizzie, where everybody just eats stuff you can put on a tray in the oven and it's beige. And if you get a pea, you're lucky.
No, it's definitely hindsight wasn't the best idea. But
but sometimes you just got to do it all, especially when you've got big things happening and it's always going to all coincide. Could you tell us a little bit about, for people that are listening, perhaps they don't know what the Paddy Buckley Round is, a little bit on the stats and maybe a little bit of what drew you towards the round as well?
Gosh, I'm going to absolutely bungle this now.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter about the actual stats. I'll get the actual stats up.
So it's a round of Welsh mountains in Eryri, which is also Snowdonia National Park. I think it's 47 peaks. Is that correct?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Tick. Well done.
Perfect. 47 summits over about 100k with about 8,000 meters, more or less.
8,500. Don't shortchange yourself.
Oh yeah, 8,500. Yeah. It was always something I really wanted to do. So my sister, she's done all three of the rounds, the Bob, the Paddy and the Ramsey. Ever since her like doing that in that kind of classic annoying little sister way, I was like, I want to do that too. And it was always something I had in my mind, but it never seemed quite the right time. And then back in, I think it's 2022, me and my husband knew we wanted to start a family soon, but I was like, I want to do the Paddy before we do that. So I actually asked Russell, who's my coach, we were around his for dinner. I asked him like, would you coach me for the Paddy? And he said yes. And I was like, oh, shoot, gonna have to do it now. And I don't know if I would have done it if I hadn't asked Russell that question. So yeah, that was I think in October, and I did it in about June the next year. But for me, like I was so drawn to the Paddy because it covers all these different areas in Eryri that have all played a really big part, and I guess in my kind of journey in the outdoors. And I've lived in various parts of North Wales. So like different parts used to be my like backdoor runs. For me, it just felt like a bit of a homage to North Wales and to running and to the mountains. So there was like a really strong why for me. And then I don't know why, but I always had it in my head that I could break the record.
What was the record before you?
I think it was 18 and a half hours.
Okay. It was Jameson in Paris, wasn't it?
It was Jasmine's, but it was definitely one of Jasmine's like softer records, I suppose. She did at the end of like a super long season. So I kind of felt like there was definitely room to kind of go a bit faster. And I don't know why. I think I just had this innate belief, which I think could take you quite far. Yeah, so I had a really great time training for the Paddy. I really the whole process was so enjoyable. And I think that's also what made it so successful in the day. Like when it got to the day, I kind of felt like whatever happens today, I'm just so happy with the journey up to this point. I really enjoyed being coached by Russell. I had loads of great days out with friends. And it actually went really, really well. The slight spanner in the works was 2 weeks before I found out I was pregnant. I think at the time I told everyone I didn't know, but I did know because I just didn't want to kind of open it up to criticism. And I didn't hardly tell anyone. I told obviously my partner Tom, and I told two of my sisters. And I did as much research as I could around it and read all the blogs I could find. And I kind of decided, I think it's actually safe. You know, I'm not going to be pushing myself aerobically any point during the day. It's just kind of slow and steady. And I just decided, like, at any point, if I feel like it's not right, then I just stop. And I also decided I'm going to look after myself impeccably. I'm going to make sure I'm super hydrated, like really on it, my nutrition, not getting too hot, not pushing myself too hard, which I think all those things probably also like played into the success. But yeah, it did feel really special having this little passenger on board. But also a bit bizarre because nobody on the day apart from Tom and my one sister knew that that was what was going on. I didn't tell Russell because I didn't feel it was fair to share it with him.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Because he would have probably thought as a coach he should go, he would have to go, wouldn't he? You'd have to go, I'm not sure. And you didn't need that.
Yeah, exactly. So I have no regrets about doing it whilst pregnant. And obviously everything worked out fine. It did make the kind of aftermath quite challenging because I was on this massive high. I felt super fit. I was quite fatigued, but wasn't feeling too bad. And the first 2-3 weeks were fine. And then it was like first trimester absolutely floored me. And like mentally, I did struggle quite a lot, that transition from being at like my absolute peak fitness to suddenly feeling very alien in my body and just a bit useless. And I didn't run for quite a while because you have just like fatigue and nausea. And so I think that made the transition quite challenging. I think it would have been really fun and really great to like build on that Paddy fitness and go and done something else and like had a bit of a momentum there. That just wasn't the reality. And obviously the other reality was also brilliant. But yeah, it was just a very stark transition, I think, for me, that I did struggle with a little bit.
Did Jasmine know you were going to go for the record?
No, she didn't. No. She sent me a very nice email afterwards congratulating me on it. Nobody really knew I was going to go for the record apart from Russell, one of my best friends, Sarah, and a couple of my sisters and Tom. I guess I just don't really like publicising things about myself anyway. And then I felt a bit anxious about sharing it. But actually, I think now the bolder, braver thing to do is to put it out there and say, this is what I'm going to go and try and do. And actually, it's okay to state those things and then fail.
Yeah.
I think in the future, that is what I would do more, because I think actually it's important for people to see that process of like shooting high and then missing the target as well. But yeah, I had like a WhatsApp group for my supporters. And I think like two days before, I was like, this is the time I'm going to try and go for.
Oh, that would have stressed me out. How did people cope? Because I'd been dropped I didn't even make it to Skiddaw when I was supporting somebody on leg one of Bob Graham round once. How did it all pan out? And I'm really curious. I love all the stats. So were people shouting at you, you're up on Jasmine's time, or were you kind of blissfully unaware?
No, I didn't really have splits for the day. I had like a rough idea of what time I needed to do each leg in, and I just decided to run feel. Yeah, I had quite a few issues with supporters being dropped. First leg I did with my friend Owain, which was great. It was just me and him. It was such a beautiful morning. It was such a special morning. And then we came down to Ogwen and met 3 of my friends, Mary, Susie and Katie, and we set off. And within like half an hour of the first climb, less than that, I dropped Susie and dropped Mary. And Katie was with me, but Susie and Mary had all my food and water. And so Katie was like, I'm going to try and run back and go and get it. So Katie set off running back. And then I think she got so far and was like, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to run back. So then she sprinted back to join me. Katie put in such a heroic effort. She then gave me all her food and water for that leg. She then went off on this little mission to find more water and then had to do another insane run to catch up with me. She fell over head over heels, and I stopped and was like, you okay? She's like, no, I'm fine. And carried on. And a few weeks later at track, she showed me her hand and her finger was sticking out like this.
Oh, what a trooper.
Katie's an absolute legend. So she's a brilliant runner, and I couldn't have done that leg without her. So yeah, that was quite stressful. And then the next leg, it was Tom, who was fine, and my brother-in-law and my sister texted me saying, listen, Matt is pretty ill. He's quite fluey, but he's going to turn up. And I just ignored it because I was like, I need him. I need him on this leg. And rocked up to the start of the leg. And looked at Matt and I was like, oh God, he does not look good. He was sweating profusely. But again, I was just ignored it. So he had a pretty horrible time, and then eventually we dropped him at Connect. And then the last, leg 4, I set off and I dropped my sister, dropped another woman came out to help me. So there was a lot of dropping going on. But leg 4, Russell surprised me. I got to the checkpoint for leg 4 and there was just changed my shoes and got some food. And then ran out, came around the corner, and Russell had been doing a 10K race that day. And he surprised me and came to support me on that leg. And up to that point, I've been having such a great time. And I was so happy to see Russell. So excited. And then about 20 minutes later, I just started having a really hard time. And for some reason, I was directing all my inner rage at Russell. Because I think he was just let's keep the pace going. He's just going ahead of me and saying motivational stuff. And I was just, in my head, I was just shut up, Russell. I'm so hating on him, which is so unfair. And then he stuck on to do leg 5. And by the time we're on the last leg, I'm there kind of very needy on Russell again. Russell, how long have we got left? Am I going to make it? So it was a bit of an emotional roller coaster. But in the end, I ended up with Russell and Tom kind of doing a bit of the heavy lifting on the last legs. Yeah, it was a really good day. I think everyone had fun, even if they did get dropped, which I felt a bit guilty about.
I love it, even though I got dropped. It's part of the story. It's part of everyone's story.
Who dropped you, Gary?
It was Ali Bailey when he did his.
Oh, that's a fair drop. I think anybody that's been dropped by Lizzie as well, they'll be like, I played a role in that. I made her feel really good about herself.
Similar story though. Myself and Rob had pretty much all of his food, and he ran off with another runner, John Heaney. And luckily, my goodness me, he was a strong runner.
Because I've been a supporter and I've struggled to keep up with people. I think there is something as well. If you go out to support someone around, you don't necessarily taper for it. And you might have had quite a big week and you think, oh, I'm just going out and they're going to have done they're doing 100K. And then you're starting from a hard stop and you've got all the anxiety and you're carrying more and all those little things. I think, because a lot of the people that got dropped in my round are really good runners, and it's not like I'm exceptionally better than them. I think I was just so keyed in, so well tapered, so well rested, and all that adrenaline. But I've also been dropped, and it is part of the story, isn't it? And quite humbling.
How did you train for that round? Did you specifically do sort of a training block for that round?
Me and Russell, it was the start of our coaching journey with each other. I think Russell was still trying to figure out what makes me tick. And I didn't do necessarily huge mileage. I actually really love doing speed work. I love going to the track. I love doing quite short, powerful workouts. But at the same time, I was spending a lot of time, because I lived on the edge of the round, on the edge of the Moorwinds, which is kind of one of the rougher parts. So a lot of my easy runs were just running over that really rough terrain. So I did feel super efficient on that kind of terrain. But I didn't do high mileage. I think I maxed out at 80 to 100k a week, but not for too many weeks. I think Russell probably, I should be careful what I say. I don't know what Russell would think. Maybe like more volume would have been better. But yeah, I just think like you also got to fit other stuff around it, haven't you? Your work. And I seem to do better off a little bit less volume, a bit more rest maybe. Like I knew the round so well. Although I hadn't necessarily run the legs that often, like loads of the Paddy lines would be lines that I take on my runs. So there was no nav element for me. I just knew it. I was so dialed into the route, which obviously helps massively as well. But yeah, I felt really, really good on that kind of terrain. And actually now I feel much less comfortable because a lot more of the running that I do now is like on the trails behind my house. And you really do tell when you go out in the hills, I've lost that edge a little bit.
Have you got your eyes on the other rounds as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think probably the Ramsey is the sensible next option due to proximity. I mean, it's still 2.5 hours drive from here, but in Scottish terms, it's not too far. But yeah, I'd love to do the Ramsey. I've actually done the Trantis round before, which is kind of 2/3 of the Ramsey. I had one of the most kind of harrowing experiences of my life supporting my sister's Ramsey. It was just so hard. It's probably one of the hardest things I've done. I solo supported her on leg 2 in the dark. It's horrible terrain. It was super humid. I was trying to nav in the dark, carry all her stuff, keep her going. And I just didn't eat or drink really for many hours. And then I started leg 3 and actually Anna Llewellyn was there and another friend of my sister's called Kath. And I started with them and did the first hill and then we dropped off. I could barely talk and I just kind of had to say like, I need to stop and told them to go on. I had to actually get into my survival bag, which I've never done before, and just eat a few gels lying on the floor. And then had the most bizarre walk off down Glen Nevis, hallucinating, seeing Shetland ponies everywhere, aimed for some campers. And when I got there, I realised it was a boulder. It was just, yeah, it was a bit mad.
Wow.
Would you say which round do you think is the hardest?
I think the Ramsey is really hard for several reasons. The terrain is just rougher generally. It's particularly on that like back side around Loch Treig. I also think that leg, it's so remote. Like you're not really going to see anyone else. There's no like real distractions. And it's also not the most inspiring part either. So I just think mentally, I think that bit's really, really tough. And I think if I did it, I would be doing that bit in the daylight. Also probably do it in the opposite direction to the way my sister did it. Because you do quite a long run out along the track. So you want to be relatively fresh for that. It is just like hard terrain. Like if you're out on the lakes or North Wales, it's quite nice seeing other people out and about. It does give you a boost, doesn't it? And just having like a few kind of shared words where I think you wouldn't see many people out on the Ramsey. That being said, like parts of it are absolutely just stunning. Yeah. Also, it's quite an intriguing one for me. But I really, really want to do the Bob Graham at some point too. I'm just not quite sure when.
The stats for the Bob are pretty similar to the Paddy, distance and elevation. But yeah, I keep hearing time and time again that the Paddy is a tougher challenge. The Bob Graham's quite formal. You have to start the moot hall. You have to register your attempt, tracker or witnesses. Well, I think actually if you've not done it before, you have to have a witnesses. If you've done it before, you can then just go solo. Is the Paddy a bit more relaxed?
Paddy's way more relaxed. Paddy, I think you can start wherever you want and go whichever direction you want. After I finished, I emailed Paddy Buckley to tell him that I'd completed it. I think that's right. Is that who I emailed? But he no longer is in charge of like the registrations. I think it was Wendy Dodds took it over. So it's very informal, but I really like that as well because I think it adds, I don't know, I really like both of them because I like the Bob because it is what it is. And everyone's doing exactly this, like starting the same place and going the same direction. Whereas a Paddy, yeah, you can think about which parts play to your strengths and certain people have preference. I think actually Russell's the only person I know who goes anti-clockwise. Most people go clockwise. But yeah, different people start at different places. And I think it's also really fun having those like debates and trying to figure out what would work best. I think it's becoming quite standard now to start in Llanberis. For a long time, people would start in Capel, but Llanberis is becoming increasingly common, I would say. And I think it's a sensible place to start as well for multiple reasons. But yeah, so that's what I did. I started in Llanberis at 4 a.m.
We'll fast forward to present day, 2025, Sky Run Areri, first place, all county tops, we mentioned that, and a GB vest. What a rush pulling on that GB vest. I saw your Strava description. I imagine you wrote that at the time, so it seemed quite raw. I'm curious, on reflection, if you were to write that description now, would you be a bit more sympathetic?
Oh, I can't. What did I write?
Oh, wow. It was never want to run again. I've been dreaming for a couple, dreaming of a DNF.
Yeah, it was quite raw, wasn't it? Yeah, the World Champs it was such a weird thing, the whole thing, because I think a lot of people who were on the team, like they'd planned or, their whole target for the season had been to try and qualify. Whereas I kind of stumbled across the fact that the 14 Peaks race was a trial race. And I just so happened to be back in North Wales at that point. And I just kind of thought, well, I'm there. It'd be quite nice to do a race. I haven't done a race for a little while. I think a tiny part of me did think maybe I could win that race, just because if there ever was an opportunity for me to do well, it would be on a kind of that kind of terrain in Areri, across mountains I know really well. But the build up to the trial race was awful for me. I had like a really bad norovirus. It was horrible. And then I was at home and my husband was up in Scotland and my toddler was waking up at 4 a.m. every day. So I just wasn't sleeping. So I just rocked up on the day and I was really relaxed because I was just like, I'm just going to have a nice day out, and had no idea where I would end up. And I was really pleasantly surprised to do quite well. I was in a really good position that nobody's attention was on me, which is very nice. There was no kind of, there was no anxiety around it really for me. Yeah. And then I really, really debated about whether I would take the GB spot because I started my new job on the Monday after the trial race. It was like it's going to be so full on. I felt so much mum guilt about the fact that my toddler was going to go into full-time childcare, and then I knew that the training would demand more time away from him. I had this big question in my head. It's like, do I want to do something when I know I'm not going to be able to do it to the best of my ability? And I just decided, actually, it's such an amazing opportunity, one that I might never get again, and maybe just like doing as much as I can is enough. So that's what I did. I just trained as best I could, but nowhere near as much as I probably needed to for an event like that. I was also had plantar fasciitis, so I was pushing through that. It wasn't the best build-up because we'd recently moved to Scotland with work. I was away a lot with work. It was really hard for me to get to like club sessions. So it was quite a lonely endeavour as well, my training. And it would be really great to have trained for the World Champs back in North Wales, where I had like this really strong running community around me, which I'm sure I'll build here in time. But I think that makes such a big difference. And that community back in North Wales, they were so supportive of me. That was the best part about it, was people's excitement, people's support in terms of words of support, but also financially. Like Russell started a bit of a crowdfunder for me and raised so much money. And I was absolutely blown away and just, humbled by that. And so thankful for everyone that donated to that, because this is another big consideration for me, is like, can I afford to do it? So it was quite a build up to it, but I really feel proud of myself because I think I did absolutely everything I could in the conditions like that were presented to me to get there in the best shape I could. And then there was just some things like outside of my control, like altitude, like no time to train on that terrain. But I just decided I'm going to go there and have the best possible time and do as well as I can. I kind of knew in the build up to the race, like I hadn't been feeling great for a while. And I think a few days before I flew, I had my blood test results back and had low iron stores. And I knew that I kind of knew it because I've had it before and I knew the symptoms. I think I just felt quite fatigued, and turning up to the start line, I tried really hard to get myself in a good place mentally, but I just kind of turned up kind of feeling a bit like... You were the
only girl there on the team as well.
Yeah.
So that must have been really hard to be like a massive international race and everybody else is in a team when you really need just people to lean on and just do it together, and you're there in the starting pen like by yourself.
Yeah, and like the boys were great. Like they're also welcoming and friendly,
boys.
But it was for their boys, and there's some other really lovely girls out there doing different races, but it's not the same as having your own team. And I think also having a team, you get team points as well. That's also a huge motivator. But I'm so proud of myself because I did
amazing
kind of get myself into a really good place mentally. It was such an experience. It's such a beautiful part of the Pyrenees. It's incredible. Starting off, I felt fine. I was just keeping well within myself. I was feeling quite comfortable. I was getting a bit stressed out with just like the busyness of it. But like somewhere on the first climb, I think we got above 2,000 meters and I just felt awful.
You've got no red blood cells, Lizzie. So not only are you like anemic, but then when they're like...
altitude.
You must have been like,
Yeah, because a few days before, we're taking the cable car up to watch the uphill only race. And we came back from that and I had this horrible pressure headache. And we went to get food and like the floor was pitching and moving for me. And I was like, oh, I feel really, really bad. This doesn't bode well. So I just switched into kind of survival mode on the race for the first bit. And I have this thing, I get it quite often in big races where things are going a bit bad and I can feel myself crumpling. And I actually just say to myself, like, okay, go there for a second. Like, and I might just have a little quick cry. I'm like, and then I'm like, okay, right, snap out of it, get on with it. I just usually have little mantras to myself. And my one was just like, you're here, you're moving forward, everything's okay. And that's what I was just saying to myself. And then also I had this little humor narrator that switches on that just starts to see everything in funny terms. It was quite funny, like lots of funny stuff happened. Like I was trying to pass this Spanish girl on the climb, the first climb. She had her poles out and I couldn't get past her. And we got to this switchback and I cut past her on the switchback and cut off just like a tiny bit of the switchback. She turned around to me and she was like, no, 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 no. And like pushed me back and pushed past me. She's like, do not do that. Do not do that. Probably told me off, which I found very irritating. I was like, deep breathing, just ignore it, let her go. And I passed on the climb again a bit further up. And then we were coming off the other side of the hill and there's all these switchbacks going down. And I was running around these switchbacks and I was kind of out of sight and I just see her cutting through all the switchbacks, all the way down. And she hadn't seen me. And then she saw me and she went, oh, is this the right way? I'm confused. Do you know what I said? I was like, no, you're fine. Well done.
Lizzie. And I roasted her.
Oh my God, why am I so British? Like, so annoying. Yeah, and then coming off down to the first checkpoint, I was feeling quite pathetic at that point. And there's loads of cows everywhere. There's like some shepherd out with some sheep. And there's a runner ahead of me. And suddenly I just felt something shoot up my nose. And I was like, what the hell's that? And it just stank of cow poo. And I like this big lump of cow poo shot up my nose. So I was like going to the checkpoint trying to snot rocket cow poo out of my nose. It was just, it was like, I just felt so pitiful and not at all kind of athletic. Gradually, bit by bit, I started to feel better. And then after about 6 hours of the race, I suddenly feel really good. We're going over this great ridge. I was like climbing really well. Got to the end of the ridge, started descending. It was like, suddenly it was like, everything's woken up. I'm going here. And then I just hit by the worst stitch. And I was managing a stitch then for the rest of the race. So any descent, the stitch would come super bad. It was just annoying because it felt like there was just something. And the Swiss girl ran past me and she's like, you're so strong on the uphills, but you just need to let go on the descents. I'm like, thanks. I know. And it was really frustrating because I felt like that was my strength going into this race. Like generally I'm very good on technical terrain. I'm very good at descending. And it just felt like none of those things were working for me that day. But I had some really amazing parts in the race. Like it opened up in the second half. I was running by myself, beautiful trails. I was actually running. I passed loads of guys in the second half. I didn't pass many women, which I thought was super interesting, but I was constantly passing people in the climb, getting past in descent, passing climb. So I think I clawed back a couple of places. It was an incredible experience. It was a pretty tough course for sure. I think the altitude
really
obviously played a big part for me. Yeah, on reflection, I did enjoy it. I think I just finished it feeling frustrated because I knew it wasn't the best I could give. And if before the race, if someone said to me, oh, you're going to finish 37th and you'll finish in under 13 hours and you'll move through the field in the second half, I'd be like, great, that's a great result. Yeah. Like I'd have taken that. On the day, I just felt like it was a lackluster performance, which is never a good feeling. We'll all have that. Like I've had races where I've come first that I felt really disappointed with, and other races where I've done not so well that I've been super proud of, that I knew that I've just run really well for myself. Yeah, it was just so funny. And like the last checkpoint is just this water checkpoint. By this point, I was just like, I'm just getting to the end of this race. And I kind of stopped there.
I've got cow shit up my nose. I've got Spanish enemies. I don't care no more.
Yeah. And there's like, I was feeling really just everything's funny by this point, and I was having the chat with the Spanish guy on the checkpoint, and he was like, just one more climb, and then he's like, and then you have 250 corners and they go on forever. And I was like and it was like, I can't remember how, it was over 1,000 meters descent just down these switchbacks.
Oh Lord.
Switchbacks of death through woods, you couldn't even see anything. And it just felt like you didn't descend, or you maybe descended like 5 meters each time. At that checkpoint, I think she was a Slovenian woman came down and she was having a bad time and she was kind of, oh, I don't want to carry on. And suddenly I found myself like, no, you're coming with me. I was like, come on. And it was really motivating for me because every time she was kind of said, oh, I can't do it, I'd be like, yes, you can. And I think just being around someone who's suffering more actually alleviates your own suffering.
Always makes you feel better.
Yeah, so we worked together to the top of the last climb and then she just disappeared and left me for dead, which was totally fine.
Shameful behaviour. I can't believe it.
I do think those European trails, they're just different. And you can't, it's so hard to compete with anybody that's been brought up in those mountains. It'd be like if it was on your home turf, Lizzie. It's just, they're super comfortable on those switchbacks. You know, they not only have they been brought up like hiking on them, but they've skied all their lives as well. And so they've got that descending as well. That it's just different. And you can't, like, I think if you, perhaps when you look back as well, like if you want to give those sort of races, you can't be disappointed in your result because you've never even stepped foot on the course before. You did amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and I think I've reflected on it a lot. And I think I really want to go and do races that are super competitive. I don't just want to go and take easy wins because it's not about that for me. And it's really motivating to be around people who are so much better. I came away from it feeling super motivated to train harder. But I think I also realised, like, at this point in my life, I don't really have the opportunity to go out to the Alps for a couple of months and train. I actually really love British hill running. Like, I love bogs and I love that kind of terrain. And I think a great satisfaction out of being able to do something well, like within, like, I like being able to, like, the Paddy was great. I got to Recchia, I got to train on that terrain. And that's not to say I couldn't go enjoy doing a race in the Alps. I just think maybe it's something for a bit further down the line when I have a bit more time to do so. I'm so grateful to have been given it. I'm so grateful to, like, the team managers, like, they volunteer to be there and to do all the organizational stuff and to support us all. The best part about it was just meeting so many of the other runners competing for GB, such a, like, lovely group of people. I don't regret it by any means, but I do wish I could have had a bit of a better run at it, if that makes sense.
There'll be other ones though. You got the experience. Hopefully. Now you got the experience.
GB vest, oh my goodness, this stuff for dreams. GB vest, that's amazing.
It is. It's so, like, I never thought I would have that. I never thought I'd get a GB vest, but definitely, like, it is a bit of a dream. What I really hope that comes from this is maybe people back home and some of the younger runners and, like, my club and stuff back home can see that it's possible for people from kind of obscure corners of North Wales go out and give it a go and actually just kind of put yourself forward. So I hope it kind of inspires some other people as well.
What's next for you now, Lizzie? You'd mentioned that you're just a wee bit injured at the moment, and that's been a sort of long term, but perhaps we're seeing a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. So have you got any, you don't have to share if you don't want to, but any races maybe next year thinking?
I think next year, all being well and being fit and healthy, a Ramsey round would be great.
I'd offer to come and do a leg, but your previous history isn't that friendly. So I'll come on a recce.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're not too far from Ben Nevis.
Not too far.
No. Yeah, so I think that will be hopefully on the cards. And I mean, I don't have an entry for this race, but I'm kind of banking. I don't even know if the entry's still open, but I would love to do Dragon's Back. I've been wanting to do Dragon's Back.
We know people, Lizzie. We know people.
Thanks. So that would be an absolute, like, that's been on my radar for 7 years.
You would
now.
be sensational at that.
Yeah, I'd love to do it.
Amazing. Yeah.
I think it's like, well, particularly the first 3 days is just a trip through all these parts of Wales that are so special to me and where I grew up. For that kind of feeling of home and that journey through different parts of my life, again, I think those sort of things really motivate me until you get to Machynlleth. Beyond there,
I think that's best. That's probably a wise way to do it, and then just a journey of discovery.
So that'd be really great. But right now, I mean, I went for kind of a 5k jog today, and that was an achievement. So that feels quite far off, but you've got to dream big.
Have you been able to do any cross training?
Well, I'm actually doing a 24-hour mountain bike race in January.
Just some light cross training then.
As a team of 4, I should hasten to add. I've done it before with my husband as a pair, which was savage. And it's right outside our house. It's a lap. So it's called Strath Puffer, and it's 24 hours of this lap. It's about an hour to hour and a quarter, the lap, and you tag in and out as a team. So I'm doing it with my sister and 2 friends. So I'm supposed to be training for that, but trying to get on the bike in the Highlands in the winter, yeah, not too much fun. I also had a little bit of a setback because I'm riding my bike back from work one night and I crashed into a lorry driver who stepped out from behind his lorry. Not the lorry, but he just...
Okay, I think that's worse though, crashing into the person.
He was a big guy as well. His lorry's parked next to the bike path, and just as I came up to the lorry, he just stepped out of the front. I just whacked into him and didn't brake. Guy didn't seem at all phased. He barely flinched. He was a big guy.
You just bounced.
Yeah, I felt my head rattle, and I was just stood there like,
no, Lizzie.
whoa,
Oh, no.
yeah.
And he was just like, what are you doing? Trying to drink my iron brew here.
Yeah, it's exactly what he sounded like, actually. So yeah, I'm going to try and got a few weeks off work. I'm going to try and just like get some panic training in on that front and hopefully get a watt bike is the plan.
May I recommend, I've got a Swift bike, Lizzie, and
I do.
Don't come at me if you've got a watt bike and you love it. I've had many bikes on turbos on bikes, like variations throughout the last like 20 years. And this is the best. If you do Swift as well, it is the smoothest. It's the quietest. It's not too heavy, so you can move it if you don't want it in one place. And it's the most comfortable. And because it's really super easy to set up, you and Tom can use it together.
Yeah.
Like you just dial,
Oh,
you
nice.
just change. There's 3 different little bits. And you just have a little crib card of like, I'm number 6, and then you just move it around. It is expensive, but if I was like anybody that I coach on that is in the market, I'm like, you won't regret. It's super easy. It's super comfortable. It's just like riding a road bike, but it's got like the little, you can change the gears like to me.
Oh, I'll check it out. Yeah, it's very like good bang for your buck. Because like that's what I struggle with cross training outside on the bike is you kind of need double the time.
No.
There's too much
you need to
freewheeling.
free out. I said that to my husband. I was like, I'd like really want a gravel bike because the gravel riding is so amazing in Scotland, and you can then ride to like a Munro and then climb it. You can make it. And he's like, where's this time coming from that you're doing all this? Suddenly finding time to become a professional gravel bike rider. I was like, yeah.
We have gravel bikes and they are amazing around here, I have to say.
Amazing.
Yeah, you definitely should get one.
Get your little boy a little one, and then you'll be
But he goes in, we've got a trailer, so he is on the trailer in the trailer a lot. It's the only thing he really tolerates now. He doesn't like the back carrier. So, but he loves the trailer. And we're going to get him one of those little shotgun seats as well, so he can kind of ride up with us, and then when he gets tired, put him in the trailer. Yeah, we love getting out on the bikes.
I wonder what you're going to answer to this. We ask all our guests for a little bit of inspiration for anybody that's not feeling their workouts at the moment. What is your go-to work? I'm interested to hear what is your go-to workout of the week.
I kind of want to say 800s, but I think everyone will hate me.
Do it. Love it.
I actually really love 800s. And the reason I love 800s is it's just like you really have to control your effort and your pace to do it well. So I think it's a really good one to dial into effort. Russell's done a lot of work with me, like the first time I started doing 800s, and he'd plotted out this 800 track around this. I would say it's a football field, but it's quite a rough football field in Blaenau where we both lived. Yeah, first few times I did it, it's just like, you're going too hard, and really got me to dial it back. And I think now I just love nailing the 800s because you only get 2 minutes. So it's 800s, a 2-minute rest, and maybe you can start off at 6 and then build up like 7, 8, 9, up to 10 if you wanted to. So I think it's a really good one for like dialing into effort. Another one I really like for the same reason is a pyramid session. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 minutes effort, getting slower as you get longer. And then with a 1 minute float in between. So it's not a jog, it's a float. So you're not like proper shuffling. And again, that's a really great one to like dial into effort levels. I mean, this is me anyway. I'm not like a super tacky person. I don't look at my heart rate or anything like that. And I guess running on the trails pace kind of becomes a bit meaningless. So try and do it without looking at your watch too much, just kind of going off effort levels. 800s all day long, which is funny because I used to hate them.
2 great workouts. I know it all depends on how fast you are, but for me, that would be about 3 minutes. And it's just that level of pace or duration where, I don't know, if it was 4 or 5 minutes, then the mental load would be quite tough for that work. And the pyramid, when you're going down the pyramid, it's one of the best places to be.
Yeah, I love the inverted pyramid because like you get down to the last 1 minute and you feel so fast, and it's great blasting out that last minute and just knowing that, you know, a minute's nothing really, is it? The 800s, if you're finishing the first one hanging on for dear life, then you're going too hard because you only get a 2-minute rest, which isn't very long.
It's a great lesson, those longer efforts, that if you were like a pure 10K runner, you probably would do them faster than we need to do them. But it's a great lesson in like that you need in like an ultra race, of that patience when you think, and middle-aged men, when I run past them and then they're like, yeah, this is my easy pace. And you think you got sweat, like actually the ability to like be patient in the first set of like 5 to go, well, I have got another gear. And you're like, don't go there. Don't go there. Hold back, because you're going to pay for it. It's like, but also like the mental load of like, oh my God, 10 of these. I've got to be in my head for 10 of these.
Yeah, I know. And like, I do so many mental gymnastics with like, if you take 4 and add another 2, and then I've only got 2 left. And then like the last one doesn't count. And then I constantly am looking for excuses for why, like, there was a loose dog, and I could just say that the dog ran out. I'm constantly looking for reasons to like be able to get out of it. But I feel like this is a good thing about getting coached. I feel like Russell has a sixth sense for when I'm lying about stuff.
I can imagine Russell with his measuring wheel running around some football pitch in Wales.
Totally. To the line, Lizzie, to the line.
I'm not sold on the float, Lizzie. I think I'd like a little walk or even a standstill for that one.
It's quite savage, the float one. I've actually done that session once with Russell, which was pretty savage. I love sessions that really get you like dialing in and thinking about your effort and what's sustainable. And the best thing I've learned through coaching as well is just to I always do my sessions like aim for 8 out of 10 and never going flat out. And that's how I think you make it sustainable and keep coming back over and over.
And then you can improve as well. You can improve because you're like,
massively.
if I could just hold next time, got a little step to go to.
And it's really like empowering finishing a session feeling not completely spent. You've worked hard, and I think we over or underestimate just how much harder we are working when we're doing efforts anyway. So you don't need to go full gas, I think.
Especially when you've got a 1-year-old at home. Oh, you're not going to go back and lie down, have a nice recovery shake and watch some Netflix like Russell.
Don't beat the workout. Don't beat the workout? That's what they say.
No, the 1-year-old can do that for you. You don't need to do that.
Should we do the quick 5? Ooh, do you have a phobia?
What?
What was it, my accent?
Phobia?
Yeah.
I said, do you have a phobia?
Phobia. Do you have phobias?
I was like, no. It sounds good though. I'm quite claustrophobic actually, but I would actually say I am a scaredy cat. And it's quite funny because my son is an absolute scaredy cat as well. I definitely think he's inherited it from me. But it's made me feel a bit kind of kinder to myself being a scaredy cat. Yeah, I mean, I've got quite a lot. The dark, spiders.
I don't like being downstairs at night time. I'm not too sure what it is.
No,
well, the ghoulies come out. Come out. I always run upstairs because they're chasing me. It's like the people under the bed that live under the bed as well.
I bet you've got a long list, Eddie.
No, I'm not scared of the dark or spiders or... cattle grids. Cattle grids.
That's a rational fear, though.
Well, because the hand could come up at any point.
That has never entered my mind once.
Well, it will now. When you cross them, you'll think they...
Talking about being scared, the Blair Witch Project is on Netflix now, so that's gonna...
Oh, no. No.
I have to admit, I don't watch much TV, but when I do, it's usually something pretty shocking. Married at First Sight being one of them. And my husband is disgusted by it. I'd watch it on the treadmill. I just can't help myself. It's just so addictive. I am really, really trying to change my phone use actually at the moment. And I'm trying to do it just by like setting rules, but it's so hard, isn't it?
So I have to break Lizzie. Bryn can just delete. Yeah. He just deletes in the week. He's like, no social media in the week. And then he goes big at the weekend. I don't have that. I can't. I just forget. And then I don't. And then I have a book. I'm just started reading this. Breathe by Molly Hughes.
Oh, nice.
Really good. So I try and have a book like where I would like, because I'm sad and I have a lot of time by myself. If I'm like sitting and having my sandwich, my lunch break, I'm like, read a chapter of Molly.
Yeah.
But it's what we used to do. I used to read all the time.
Yeah. Same with me. And I loved reading. I was an obsessive reader. And actually last week I was like, I'm not taking my phone to the bedroom. And I started reading the book again. And I slept so much better. I just felt calmer. It's so anxiety inducing, isn't it? The phone is so addictive. So yeah, I should look into a brick, I think.
I would endorse it, definitely. Can you name one
Now,
Mariah...
Gary wrote these questions. Can I just say that for anyone that's thinking these are bizarre?
Can you name one Mariah Carey song apart from All I Want for Christmas Is You? And she's a megastar, but it really caught me out the other day.
Oh, I don't know. I definitely would recognise some. I feel like we would have watched Mariah Carey on MTV back when we were like 15.
Dream Lover, does that ring a bell?
No.
Always be my baby. I remember that one.
Oh, yeah. I don't have the best Mariah Carey knowledge.
No, nobody does. Nobody does,
you
Lizzie.
disappoint
Only
me.
Gary. He's obviously gone deep into Mariah this week. And he's like,
But it's everywhere. Every time I turn the radio on already, it's like literally wall to wall Mariah Carey. And I was like, she's such a megastar, but I couldn't think of another song that she did.
No, one hit wonder.
Apart from a brick, what is on your Christmas list?
A what bike? I feel like that's a very, that might be like a joint present that we indulge in between us. Oh, I've been so busy. I haven't even thought about myself for Christmas. I'm just thinking.
Come on.
Yeah, I generally haven't.
Breathe by Molly Hughes. A brick.
Breathe by Molly Hughes. I actually just bought myself a new pair of trainers, so maybe that could be kind of
No,
Christmas
that is
present to myself.
absolutely not. That is absolutely not. You're a mummy and you need something nice. So you need to, even a nice bit. Do you know what I do? I'm like, because we're like, well, we don't need, we don't wear nice fancy stuff. We don't do anything. We went through our bank statement yesterday. It was the saddest thing I've ever seen. We're like, how can we save money? And we're like, oh my God, we don't do anything. Co-op.
I know, we did that. But the same, like, it's all just essentials.
So I was like, what about some nice face moisturizer? Because that is something that, as like, especially with you, with your peat bogs.
Yeah. My face is usually pretty savage by the end of the day, actually. You kind of go back into the car and you're just like flaming red tomato. It's on fire.
I reckon a nice face moisturizer, a nice nighttime face moisturizer.
Yeah, or a new pair of waterproof socks would be good. All my waterproof socks were a bit leaky. So I feel like that would massively improve my quality of life right now.
Oh, wouldn't it just? I'd say not just one pair. I'd say put 3 in that basket. A whole set.
Classic gift. Ooh, dogs allowed onto the furniture.
Yes. Very
Upstairs
much so.
too? Upstairs?
Yes.
Hey.
Currently not, because she's on heat. So she's vanished into her dog bed, which is, she's taken it hard because she's also feeling a bit sorry for herself. She doesn't sleep on our bed we did try and say a strict no dogs on the bed rule, but each time so my husband's just been away for 10 days, and as soon as he's gone, it's like, come on, Luna, up you come. And she loves going on our bed so much. We do let her up most mornings. And yeah, it's like we're trying to get the toddler out the door and trying to get ourselves out the door. And then you're trying to call the dog down, and she's just cuddled up on the bed, refusing to leave. She absolutely loves it.
What sort of dog is she, Lizzie?
She is a collie poo or a bordoodle.
Poo. Oh, I need to look what this looks like.
Are they good runners?
So it's a bit sad. So she's a Welsh collie crossed with a miniature poodle. And we got it because I have to show you her after. She's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, they are, come and stay. They are delicious.
Yeah, she is so lovely. We wanted a roughy tufty mountain dog. We've ended up with this kind of real soft lap dog. I mean, she was super, super fit, but she isn't a massive fan of being out on long runs. And she actually got really poorly in June this year. She's got something called Addison's disease, which means her adrenal glands don't work. So it means that she can't do quite as much as she used to do, but she gets steroids. So we're still experimenting a bit with the steroid dose, because you either get this super steady dog that's really on edge, or she's just really mopey.
Mum, I need some weights. I'm going to need to go to the gym because I got all this energy.
Yeah. It's been a bit of a challenge trying to get used to it, because if you give her too much, she just gets obsessed with food and starts ripping the bin apart, and behavioural issues we've not had before. She loves cuddles, she loves the ball, and she does when she's out on the hill. She'll get the zoomies sometimes, which is great. But yeah, we've had to kind of adjust our expectations of her a little bit.
She's company though. I bet they look like they're sort of like a lovely company dog. They look so
She's got the most gentle, lovely character. She's so tolerant of the toddler abuse that comes her way. She's so
actually
tolerant.
You don't need a dog in your time like now that is a heavy exercise need or a heavy prey drive that you're like, the other stress, you just don't need that right now. As much as it would be lovely to have someone that could run 40 miles with you, you don't need that on a Tuesday when you've got to drop a toddler and go to work all day.
Yeah, the friends who have dogs like that, I think they find that life gets in the way, and then suddenly you've got a dog that's a bit wound up.
Well, you've made it like my dog, like it's an endurance athlete, and so because love running with her, but that does mean that she needs to be run. Otherwise, her job is running, and she's like, "Mum, we haven't had my 10 miles. What am I going to do with myself?"
Every week when we share the podcast on Instagram, we have to put a song to our post and story. It's your choice though, Lizzie. What's it going to be?
I listen to lots of music when I'm running. I have very eclectic tastes. I think I'll go with a band I'm listening to a lot at the moment, which is a band called Beluga Lagoon, and it's a song called Isla.
We've had Beluga Lagoon before.
Have you? Oh, amazing.
Yeah, we definitely have. Yeah. Does it ring a bell with you, Gary?
I can't remember the Seringham. I'm sure it was Seringham.
That was it.
It's a great song. It's a very rousing hill running song. I always put it on and feel like bounding off.
If you like, Passenger is another good one. They've got some good hill running songs that are a bit like that.
Oh, I've not heard of Passenger.
Yeah, that's another. It was a long time ago, and they do sing. They're really good too. And I tell you who else I really like is the Lorettes. That's a girl band, Scottish girl band, and
I've heard of either of them.
They're really good too for they're a real good girl. We are, that's a good one.
Nice. I listen to a very eclectic mix of music, from very, very cheesy pop to folk to trad. I love
cheesy pop. I absolutely loved. We watched Top of the Pops from, I'm a bit older than you, Lizzie, but from 1984, and it was incredible. Everyone was sensational.
So cheesy.
Eddie, your microphone's gone a bit weird. I don't know if you've disconnected.
Oh, you've gone weird.
No, you've gone weird.
Sorry, there we go.
Hey,
Lizzie, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been too long. We should have had you on many years ago, but we've had even more stories to share with you, and love hearing you about your move to Scotland. Lots of people will be listening. It's tough to take these big bold steps and setting up a new life and home for your family, and really hope that pesky plantar fasciitis heals up and you're back on the trails. And as I said, if you want to do a little bit of recce light Ramsey recceing, love to meet, but I'll drive the van.
Absolutely.
I'll provide the tea, but hopefully see you at the start line, maybe Dragon's Back in the future. But good luck saving all our peat bogs for us, and I'll never fall in a peat bog again and curse it, and I'll just say this is Lizzie's work.
I apologise to everyone for that.
Love it. Thank you so much, and hopefully
thanks, Lizzie.
Our paths will cross in 2026.